Welcome back to my Final Fantasy XIV drama series. Today's drama story is about ERP Addiction. If you enjoy these kinds of videos, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button. Have you ever found yourself in a situation so bizarre that you could hardly believe it was real? Well, that's exactly what happened to me. It all started with a harmless decision to try something new, but little did I know it would lead me down a path filled with unexpected twists and turns. My experience was unique, to say the least, and I hope that by sharing it with you and your audience, I can help others avoid the same mistakes I made. This is exactly why we do the drama readings, to learn from each other's mistakes. When I first started playing Final Fantasy XIV, I was immediately hooked. I came into the game in mid-2021 and rode the hype train for all the main scenario quests. Crafting was my side hustle, and I loved every minute of it. I finally got current with the main story after Endwalker launched, and proceeded to do my best with the Savage raiding scene. And I had a great time for a while. At first, everything was great, but as time went on, I started to feel like something was off. The Savage raiding scene was beginning to get stale. I was exhausted, mentally, physically, and emotionally. A year of Savage raiding and other try-hard activities had drained all my energy. In the beginning of the year, I found myself burnt out and unable to step foot into any Savage content. To make matters worse, all of my statics had disbanded. I was alone, lost, and unsure of what to do next. Do I quit the game entirely? Or do I try to find a new static and start over? I think, yeah, definitely people can feel that way. Like, too much of anything is bad. If you're doing too much raiding, you can burn yourself out. If you feel like you're logging into the game and you don't even know why anymore, you're just getting a little burnt out. It's okay to take a break. Come back when new things come back into the game. Or try something new. So yeah, so some people can relate with this. My world goblin had become congested. I had a friend who was on Seraph, the Seraph world in Dynamis Data Center. I decided to transfer. And before anyone else comments that I say Dynamis weird, yeah, I know, but that's just how I say it. I smile because I moved to Dynamis too, and I know this person. It was a preferred world, and with the added bonus of a real-life friend already there, I was excited for a fresh start. The friend that they're talking about in the story is not me. We met in the same FC. And I couldn't believe my luck. After transferring to a new world, my friend introduced me to an amazing free company that invested in me just as much as I wanted to invest in them. The overall culture was thriving and positive, and I felt like I had finally found my place in the game. But it was the Valentine's Day event that truly changed everything. Do you remember what Dynamis was like when it first opened? It was amazing. There were so many people. It was lively. That was fun. And now they're talking about the Valentine's Day event, which, you know, I streamed. Remember? My FC was holding a really good event in Seraph. That's the event they're talking about. The free company hosted a venue that opened the world of role-playing to me, and I was hooked. Oh, so they found out about role-playing at that event. But I'll admit it, I was intimidated. The world of nightclubs, gambling, and bars in the game had always seemed like a different universe to me. I had never once jumped into this area of the game, despite knowing they existed. One evening, I thought, screw it. Let's just grab an ad randomly from Party Finder listings and see what the venue is all about. Little did I know this one decision would lead me down a path filled with unexpected experiences and challenges that would push me out of my comfort zone. As I made my way through the goblet, I quickly realized how unfamiliar I was with the housing district. I got lost multiple times, not realizing that each ward was split between 2 instances. And to make matters worse, I thought I had to teleport all the way back to the main aetheryte crystal to go to a different ward. Hey, I still do that. But I was determined to push through the growing pains and explore this new world. Finally, I stumbled upon the venue that caught my eye. As I entered the door, I was welcomed with open arms by the friendliest Lalafell I had ever met. We exchanged small talk, and she encouraged me to have a look around. I couldn't believe my eyes. I had stumbled upon a venue unlike anything I had ever seen in the game before. As I looked around, I saw stripper poles in use and numerous patrons observing them. Despite my better judgment, I found myself drawn to this unfamiliar environment and curious about what else it had to offer. Upstairs, I discovered even more surprises, including some private rooms and numerous hot tubs, all occupied except for one. Not wanting to stand out, I quickly switched to my summer swimwear glam and hopped into the water. Looking back, I realized I could have left at any time or teleported out, but at that moment, I was too afraid of looking like a total loser to make a move. I was in shock. Out of nowhere, a topless male Lalafell joined me in the hot tub. They informed me that this place was much more than just a simple venue. He explained that the venue was a place to purchase services for safe for work or not safe for work companionship. Oh, it's whatever you want. I felt a wave of discomfort wash over me. I wasn't sure I was ready for this type of roleplay, or any type of roleplay for that matter. Yeah, if this is your first time roleplaying, you're like, oh, ERP? I'm not ready for that. I looked at him and thanked him before proceeding to roleplay walk with Sprint out of the venue. He ran out of the venue? At that moment, I thought to myself, surely this is the last I've seen of this place. Little did I know what came next would lead me down a path of unexpected self-discovery and growth that would change my entire experience in the game. Wow, change your entire experience in the game? And this is coming from someone who's done like crafting and savage raiding, and so RP world really changed something. All right, let's hear it. I was taken aback by a sudden unexpected message in the pink font of a /tell. Hey, thank you so much for coming. Please join the Discord and we would be very happy to get your feedback. This was our opening weekend. I thought to myself, yeah, I have feedback. I could provide that. No problem. And so I joined. As I entered the Discord, I was immediately welcomed by a flood of personalities in the main discussion channels. Despite its outward appearance as something lewd and scandalous, over time, I realized I had stumbled upon something special. Little did I know this community would become the cornerstone of my entire experience in the game. This was easily the most active Discord I had ever been a part of, and the community here was friendly, encouraging, kind, and comforting to everyone. I was totally hooked on the community and spent most of my downtime chatting with people from all walks of life. Little did I know this decision would lead me down a path filled with unexpected emotions and experiences that would challenge my preconceptions and broaden my horizons. As I chatted away, I felt a renewed sense of enjoyment and fulfillment in talking with people from various backgrounds. But then, one particular person came into the chat and everything changed. Her name was Emily. She sounded depressed and sad, complaining about no one buying her last night. I wasn't sure if she was working the room or being serious, but I found myself getting caught up in the moment. Looking back, I admit that I was a sucker for it. I was surprised and sympathetic when Emily came into the chat, expressing sadness and disappointment that no one had purchased her services. As we started talking in direct messages on Discord, I had no idea what was in store for me. As I look back on this moment, I realized that there were many signs pointing to the unexpected twists and turns ahead, but at the time, I had no idea what was coming. Okay, so she's like a hostess girl in a club, and no one bought her that night, and she's feeling sad. They just went from voice to DMs. I don't know how, but OP, you sliding into Emily's DMs just like that? I see you. However, I was somewhat hesitant and uneasy about the situation from the start. As we continued to chat, I still couldn't shake the uncomfortable feeling that something wasn't quite right. In hindsight, this should have been a red flag for me. I'm not the richest player in the game, and I knew that things could potentially go wrong. But I couldn't resist the charm of a pretty lady, and so I found myself making plans with Emily for the next evening. Looking back, I realized that my weakness for the opposite sex had clouded my judgment. But at the time, I was eager and excited to see where this encounter would lead. Oh yeah, like, he was kind of interested. He's like, oh no, this girl's upset. I'll help you. Also, her coming into the voice and saying that could also mean that she was trying to lure someone to pay for her services. She went fishing and she caught OP, basically. The following day, I was back at the venue. As Emily greeted me at the front, I couldn't help but feel a sense of unease. I realized that my eagerness to please, amidst other things, had clouded my judgment. But at the time, I couldn't resist the offer of spending time with Emily. She sent me a link to her menu, and I took a look. I was not prepared for the explicit images or detailed descriptions of the services she was selling. Oh, it's on a card.co, and they'll list like all the things, all the pictures, like, what do you want? What do you want from my services? But my curiosity was piqued nonetheless. Regretfully, I paid for an hour of her time and followed her into one of the premium rooms. Wait, how did you pay her? Real money or Gil? I have to know. The room was dimly lit, and if one could smell the room, I'm sure the air would have been heavy with a musky scent. I love the imagination. I won't go into the details of what happened next, but I will say that she was remarkably skilled at her job. Okay. You got the whole package. We spent the remaining time lying on the bed with Emily spooning me. We engaged in small talk and discovered that we had a lot in common. Emily was friendly and understanding of my nervousness. She sent me a friend request, and I thanked her again before leaving discreetly. Thank you for your services. As I was leaving, I received several farewell messages from people in the building who recognized me from the Discord chats. Great seeing you! Hope you visit again soon! That kind of looks awkward. It's kind of like, oh, you know when you like stay over someone's house for the night after a night clubbing, and then you go home in the morning. That's what I'm imagining, like everyone in Discord saying goodbye to like the OP in that story, like, bye, thanks for coming to the club, you had the private room, come back again. 2 days later, my friends and I had finished a good prog session for Weapons Refrain Ultimate when one of them suggested hitting up a venue. It was late and I wasn't sure if I had that much time, but I wasn't particularly tired either. Sure, I said. Might be fun. Yesterday wasn't exactly the best day, so it couldn't be any worse than that. The walk of shame, exactly. Yeah, that's what I was talking about. For me, I hate the walk of shame because I still, as a girl, I would have like last night's makeup still on and it's like daytime. Because you know, nighttime makeup looks horrible in the daytime. So I'm like, I gotta get home fast and remove this makeup because it looks gross. I hated walk of shames. We made our way to the Pink District in Shirogane, an area lined with houses all owned by the same free company and decorated with bright pink lights, creating a literal pink district in the game. I love that, actually. I love that when you go to a residential area and there's like a couple of houses next to each other and they match in theme. They're like, oh, whoever owns these two houses knows each other, or it's the same person and the other one's on their alt or something, and they make the trees match the opposite house or something. You can tell. We found our venue and descended the stairs, dressed in our RP glam. As we approached the bar, I couldn't believe my eyes. Front and center was Emily, the same woman I had met just a few days prior. It was a surprise to see her there, and I couldn't help but wonder what she was doing here. So different venue, but Emily's there. I soon received a message in Slashtells. Hey handsome, fancy running into you here. What followed was a conversation like any other, filled with typical small talk. We chatted about our in-game activities, how our weekends were going. Eventually, the conversation shifted to the current venue, which had a nice setup, but not many people. As we talked, my friends began leaving one by one for various real-life reasons. Yep, it's getting late, so one by one, people are dropping like flies. And then you're up at the godly hours of like 5 a.m. still at the ERP venue. After spending some time hanging out with other people, it was just me and Emily left. Hey, she asked, do you have a house? It turned out that I had recently acquired a small cottage that I loved. I called it my little home, although I had never considered bringing anyone over to see it. Yes, I said, I do, and it's small and cozy. Cool, she replied. Add me to your friends list and we can teleport there right now. I added Emily to my friend list, allowing her permission to teleport straight to my home. I showed her the main level, which I had set up to look like a cozy coffee shop, and she loved it. Downstairs, I showed her my sauna and hot tub area, which she also thought was cool. There was an unfinished bedroom in the corner of the floor, which she thought had potential, and even dozed on the bed. Hey, she said, come lay with me. At that moment, I knew where the situation with Emily might lead. I have a flaw, dear Pathra, and audience listening in that I tend to be overly drawn to affection from women. I have always been a bit of a softie, and as evidence of that, I walked up and laid down beside her. I love how he addresses us in the story. I thought that something intimate might happen between me and Emily, but what transpired was far from that. Instead, Emily opened up to me about something personal and emotional, and what she shared was heartbreaking. Even now, as I write this, what she told me still affects me emotionally. Her words were filled with depth of emotion that left me no choice but to listen to the rapt attention. Affection, one hell of a drug. Emily was a woman with a past that was fraught with hardships and pain. She spoke of a difficult childhood, of abuse at the hands of those who were meant to love her, and of a life of constant struggle. Despite these trials, she managed to find joy and solace in the world of Eorzea. As the night wore on, Emily shared with me the details of her current circumstances. She spoke of a job that barely paid enough to cover her bills, of a son who had been taken from her by a tragic illness, and of a recent divorce that had left her feeling lost and alone. Her words were filled with a deep sense of sadness and despair, and my heart ached for her. Yeah, I'm starting to think, like, after reading that, like, one, this could be true, or she wants money from this poor guy. I don't know. Let's see. For me, I'm not so trusting. That's why I always think of the bad things that it could be. Through it all, however, Emily remained strong. She spoke of her friends she had made in the game, of the moments of happiness she had experienced, and of the hope that kept her going. And as I listened to her, I realized that she was not just an avatar on a screen, but a real person with a story to tell. As I continued to recount my encounter with Emily, I must admit that I was unsure of how to proceed after she shared such intimate details of her life with me. Yeah, that seemed very unexpected. Like, OP didn't know he was gonna dive into like a whole backstory of Emily's life. And it's so weird because, like, if you're not even sharing something back, like, it's so one-sided that it landed on you. I did not want to appear callous or dismissive of her pain, but I also did not want to pry too deeply into her past. In the end, I chose to offer her what little comfort I could. I assured her that she was not alone and that she could confide in me as a friend if she needed to. I knew that I was not qualified to offer any concrete advice or solutions, but I could be a listening ear and a shoulder to cry on if she needed one. Okay, so OP's like, I could be a shoulder for you and I can listen. As I spoke these words to her, I could sense a small shift in the air between us. It was as if we had moved beyond the realm of the game into a space that was purely human. In that moment, I felt a deep sense of gratitude for the trust that Emily had placed in me, and I knew that I would always cherish this encounter as a reminder of our shared humanity. Aww. Our Discord chats became more frequent, and we began to talk about more than just the game we both played. Emily and I started to check in with each other regularly, asking how the other was doing, sharing our own struggles and triumphs. I would inquire about her mental health, and she would be honest with me about how she was feeling. She shared with me the difficulties she was facing in her job as a courtesan, and how she was trying to find work at other venues. Through it all, I could sense a deepening of our connection. We had moved beyond the superficiality of our virtual personas and into a space that was more real and authentic. And in that space, I discovered a new level of empathy and compassion for Emily, a woman whose struggles I had come to know intimately. Looking back on our chats, I am filled with gratitude for the honesty and vulnerability that Emily shared with me, and I am humbled by the trust that she placed in me as a friend and confidant. As my relationship with Emily continued to evolve, I came to realize that the erotic roleplay scene was not for me, but I was still committed to being there for her and providing her with an alternative to her addiction. So, okay, so he's saying she is addicted to ERP. Together, we decorated her apartment in the game and spent time visiting safe for work bars and clubs, hitting up dance floors and parties, and enjoying each other's company as friends. In those moments, I could feel a sense of joy and camaraderie that I had not experienced before in the game. Then all of a sudden, Emily disappeared. As the days passed, I began to feel a sense of unease about her sudden silence. She had not logged into the game or responded to my messages on Discord. Oh, that's strange. Just like gone. Not even on Discord? And I couldn't help but wonder if something was wrong. But despite my worries, I continued to play the game as I normally would, doing roulettes and other activities to pass the time. I think, chat, that her Discord account was just purely for ERP. You know, like, they wouldn't use a Discord account that's actually tied to, like, their Steam or their Twitter, or, you know, if they're doing ERP, they gotta make it, like, kind of anonymous. So I think that's why they didn't hear anything from her. She wasn't even on that account anymore, or taking a break from it. She had not logged into the game or responded to my messages on Discord, and I couldn't help but wonder if something was wrong. But despite my worries, I continued to play the game as I normally would, doing roulettes and other activities to pass the time. But my thoughts kept returning to Emily and the bond we had formed. As I continued to worry about Emily's sudden disappearance from the game and Discord, I received a message that only heightened my anxiety. It was from the manager of the lounge where I had first met Emily, asking if I had heard from her. When I replied that I have not, the manager revealed that Emily had unexpectedly quit her job and was nowhere to be found. My heart sank at the news, and I couldn't help but wonder if something had happened to Emily in the real world. I felt a deep sense of concern for her well-being, and I knew that I had to do something to try and find out what had happened. As time went on, my worries about Emily's well-being continued to grow. But just when I thought all hope was lost, I received a message from her on the Final Fantasy XIV companion app, which I had forgotten that I had. The relief I felt at hearing from her was palpable, and I quickly replied to her message, asking how she was doing and where she had been. Emily's response was brief but reassuring. She had simply needed to take some time away from the game to focus on her real-life issues. As Emily and I reconnected after her sudden disappearance, she shared with me the reason of her absence. Her significant other had caught her in the act of erotic roleplay and given her an ultimatum. Oh, her significant other is giving her an ultimatum after finding out she ERPs in Final Fantasy XIV. She could no longer work at lounges or engage in any kind of erotic roleplay, which had been a significant part of her life up to that point. I tried to offer her support and understanding, assuring her that her relationship with her partner should always come first. I encouraged her to take the time she needed to work through her issues and prioritize her own well-being. In the midst of our conversation, Emily asked me a question that caught me off guard. She wanted to know if I was married in the game. As I tried to skirt around Emily's question about whether or not I was married in game, I knew deep down that my attempt to avoid the question were futile. Emily was a perceptive person, and I suspected that she had picked up on my discomfort and evasion. Our conversation continued, and I tried to shift the focus to another topic, hoping that Emily would forget about her initial question, but to my surprise and dismay, she did not. Eventually, she brought up the topic once again, pressing me for a direct answer. In that moment, I knew that I could no longer avoid the question, so I gathered my courage and told her the truth that I was not married in the game and that I had no plans to pursue any kind of romantic relationship with her. But when I logged into the game the next day, I received a message from Emily that took me by surprise. She had changed her last name to match mine and was offering to pay for the premium package in the wedding ceremony. What the hell? She changed her name to his last name and was like, I can buy us a wedding. As I reflected on my interactions with Emily, I knew that it was crucial to be honest and direct with her about my feelings and concerns. I explained to her that while I valued our friendship, I did not see us as a romantic couple, and that I could not accept her offer for the wedding package. She already spent the money to change her last name. That is wild. I tried to approach the conversation with sensitivity and empathy, knowing that my words might hurt her. I expressed my concerns about the slippery slope she had been on since we met, and my worry that she may not recognize where the erotic roleplay ends and real-life flirting begins. It was a difficult conversation to have, but I believed that it was important to be honest and upfront with Emily about my intentions and boundaries. That's very good of OP to lay it all out there. Like, look, we did ERP, but I'm not trying to get married in the game, not trying to have a relationship. Yeah. For all we know, OP could be taken also, you know? IRL. I offered to support her in any way that I could, but also made it clear that I could not be a romantic partner for her. As I awaited Emily's response to my honest and direct communication, I knew that there was a possibility that she might not take it well. And unfortunately, that's exactly what happened. The next day, Emily messaged me on the companion app to tell me that her partner had discovered everything and demanded that she uninstall the game, remove Discord, and cease all discussion with anyone over the internet. I'm getting like strange vibes from Emily. And I also told OP this, but OP doesn't see my view. And that's because maybe he knows Emily better than I do. But like when I read this, it makes me think that Emily tried to lure money at the beginning. And now it seems so like, emergency, emergency. I cannot talk to you. I have to get rid of the game. It sounds very sus. It's like, why is this happening? Like, what? You're just a normal guy just meeting a person in the game. And then all of a sudden, once you meet them, like, there's a huge disappearance. And then there's like a big dilemma happening right before your eyes all of a sudden. Like, you can't do anything about it. Some guys would probably be like, oh, let me help you. Let me help you out with your situation. Maybe girls like this in the game are looking for the guys that seek this kind of affection and want to help girls like this out, whether it's through money or something. So I don't know. Sounds like quite the actress. Yeah, like I'm getting like some vibes like that. Like it's not looking good. It's not looking good. When I read this, I don't like what I'm seeing. These are all red flags. These are all normal red flags, right? Normally, every person can agree, like, that sounds like a red flag. So I have told OP this, and OP was like, I never looked at it that way. And then part of me is like, huh? Really? You didn't? Like, see? Some people are so sweet that they won't even think about the possibility of someone trying to manipulate them, possibly, maybe. Like, you can't be so trusting. You can't be so trusting. People can lie on the internet. So you have to think sometimes, why me, of all people, am I in this whole whirlwind of a mess all of a sudden? Why is she telling me all of these things? I'm just a stranger. You have to think about it. Yeah, people lie IRL too. They lie IRL, they lie in-game. You can't be so trusting. You don't know this person in person. Okay. So let's get back to the story. So the next day, Emily messaged me on the companion app to tell me that her partner had discovered everything and demanded that she uninstall the game, remove Discord, and cease all discussion with anyone over the internet. She said her goodbyes, and I have not spoken to her since. Reflecting on the ups and downs of my journey with Emily, I am reminded of the importance of community and support in our lives, especially when it comes to mental health and wellness. Although my friendship with Emily did not end on a happy note, I am grateful for the friends that I had made along the way and the community that I am now a part of that promotes mental health and healthy sharing of life situations in a non-judgmental and constructive way. a community that I would have never met if it had not been for her. This experience has taught me the importance of being open and honest about our mental health and struggles, and the value of finding a supportive community where we can share our experiences and find support and encouragement. As someone who lives with autism and background anxiety, I know firsthand how important it is to have a supportive network of people who understand and accept us for who we are. See, OP is just really sweet, and he was like, I really just want to help people, you know, whatever troubles they're going through. I can be the shoulder, I can listen, they're really nice. And I can see why he didn't think anything ill of the person, which is really sweet of him. Bless this OP, man. I hope that my story can serve as a reminder of the power of community and the importance of mental health and wellness in our lives. And to Emily, if you are listening to this, I want you to know that I am sending you positive thoughts and hoping for your well-being. I sincerely hope that you have been able to overcome your addiction and find a suitable replacement to fill the gap. I also hope that you have been able to navigate your relationship with your partner in a way that brings you both happiness and fulfillment. Remember that honesty and communication are key components to any healthy relationship. If you ever need someone to talk to or a supportive community to turn to, know that there are resources available to you. I wish you all the best in your future endeavors, and I hope that you continue to strive to live each day to the fullest. That's a kind message. The end. Opie, like, doesn't even know what happened. Like, Opie could be blindsided, okay? Just a really, really nice, sweet guy. Wants to help someone that they met. Is very trusting and just gives them a kind message. I hope I helped you, and I hope you're doing well. So that's very sweet of Opie. But Opie, you gotta know, sometimes girls could be looking for people just like you. But I think Emily knew, like, oh, I can't get anything out of this guy. I can't get anything out of this guy. I gotta end it. I'm wasting my time with this person. I think. That's my thoughts. I could be wrong, of course, but it seemed so, like, black and white. You know, like, if this Emily person is really your friend, she will be your friend and come out of the shadows and still talk to you, like, not be gone. But since it was so black and white, like either we have this or we have nothing. It just seems so like, do you want me in your life or do you not want me in your life? It's like she gave him an ultimatum, kind of, without him even knowing. What do you guys think? I think Emily, to me, could possibly have many accounts, many alts, many Discord accounts also that could be talking to various men, trying to get maybe some money. You never know. It could be a possibility. And when something doesn't happen with one person, she'll just close the deal. You could see how she tries different paths. Like this guy's really nice. What if she tried the path of, like, changing her name to be with him even? Maybe she wanted to be with him. Maybe she started to like him. And when he said, no, I don't want to marry you. I don't want to marry anyone in this game. Maybe that could have also been her taking it as a rejection and got angry. That could be it also. She was maybe heartbroken that, wow, a guy stood me up and I changed my last name. It could be. There's so many. It's hard to piece things together, but we're trying our best here. The last name thing is wild. Yeah, it's wild. Never had anyone do that with me, thankfully. I'd be freaked out if someone showed up in the game, was like, hey, I have the same last name as you. Want to get married? Be like, what? Hell no. That's kind of manipulative with the name thing. Yeah. It's almost like she tried to force it on him, right? It's like, because some people might be like, oh my god, you went through all that effort to change your name? All right, sure, let's get married. Let me know in the comments below what you thought about this Final Fantasy XIV drama story. If you have any of your own drama stories that you'd like me to share and read out anonymously, feel free to reach out to my Discord, discord.gg/Pathra.